Allah, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh, Shah, by Hashem, Rakatadash, that belongs to the elders and the Apostle Great Millstone and Thomas Truth Rule Well, Shalom. Alright, so I want to read off some various topics. We'll flow off the spirit, Lord willing. So actually, I'm going to start in my part. Alright, so this is Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. Actually, I'm gonna start from Baruch chapter 3 and verse 30. Baruch chapter 3 and verse 27. Those did not the Lord choose, neither gave the way of knowledge unto them, but they were destroyed because they had no wisdom and perished through their own foolishness. Who hath gone up into heaven and taken her and brought her down from the clouds? Who hath gone over the sea and found her, and will bring her for pure gold? No man knoweth her way, nor thinketh of her path. But he that knoweth all things knoweth her, and hath found out her with his understanding. He hath prepared the earth for evermore, hath filled it with four-footed beasts. He that sendeth forth light, and it goeth, calleth it again, and it obeyeth him with fear. The stars shine in their watches, and rejoice when he called them. They say, Here we be, and so with cheerfulness they shew light unto him that made them. This is our power. There shall none other be accounted in comparison of him. He hath found out all the way of knowledge, and hath given it unto Jacob his servant, and to Israel his beloved. All right, so Jacob and Israel is referring to the elect, and it also says beloved. Beloved is also the elect, known as the elect. All right, so and also her in those different verses is referring to wisdom and the knowledge. Then it goes on to say in chapter 4, verse 1, this is the book of the commandments of power and the law that endureth forever. All that shall keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. So those that die are in the congregation of the dead. I'm not sure which verse it's in, but it's in the rest of the Bible. The congregation of the dead, those that actually no. Proverbs 21 and 16, I believe. Those that wander off out of the way of the understanding, which is this truth, this knowledge, will be in the congregation of the dead. And it's also in Revelation, where it talks about I'm roughly paraphrasing it. It talks about them seeing their dead bodies in the streets and stuff, because these heathen nations knew that we were of Israel, but they wouldn't give us back our true heritage. So those people their dead bodies laid in the street, they didn't have any light in them. They didn't have the truth in them. All right, which would be the way of understanding spoken of in Proverbs 21. All right, so and then it says this is the book of the commandments. So basically, in another version, it was wisdom when it says this is. All right. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. All right, so you're going to be illuminated by this word. It's also a verse that talks about hold on, let me get that. Should be Isaiah 8 and 20. Okay, yeah. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. All right, so I went to that to say this, like, it says, take hold of it, walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou may be illuminated. Those that are of the elect, or those that are of the hopeful elect of Israel, they will have light in them. And if they have the light in them, you will know that they are a true man of the Lord, because it says, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So you know that someone has a light because they're speaking according to the book, to the law. All right. So what was I at? Okay, verse 4. O Israel, happy are we, for the things that are pleasing to power are made known to us. Be good, cheer my people, the memorial of Israel. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved power to wrath. And we moved the Most High to wrath because we wasn't listening to his commandments, and we were going after our own wild imaginations, wicked imaginations. All right. What was that? Okay. Ye were delivered unto the enemies, for ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to power. Ye have forgotten the everlasting power that brought you up, and ye have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you. For when she saw the wrath of power coming to you, she said, hearken, O ye that dwell about Zion. And when you see Zion, is referring to the Israelites. It's figurative for Israel. It is a city in Israel as well. God hath brought upon me great mourning, for I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting covenant bore upon them. With joy did I nourish them, but I sent them away with weeping and mourning. Let no man rejoice over me, a widow and forsaken of many, who for the sins of my children are left desolate. Because, for who for the sins of my children am left desolate. So the land of Israel is desolate. Today, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. This is 3 now. Behold, I will make them as the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come to worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. And he only cares about those of Israel, and not all of Israel. Well, eventually everybody of Israel is going to be saved, but not on this side. Eventually everybody's gonna come back through reincarnation, but he loves his elect. He cares for his elect. All right. All right. So verse 13, Luke chapter 4, verse 13. They knew not his statutes, nor walked in his ways of his commandments, nor trod in the paths of discipline and his righteousness. Let them that dwell upon Zion come and remember the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting covenant hath brought upon them. For he hath brought a nation upon them from far, a shameless nation and of a strange language, who neither reverence old man nor pity young child, or pity child. So it says a nation from far. Ultimately, we know that life for the most part started over in Israel, and the nation that was brought from far was from the United States, which is the nation of Edom, but they settled first in Jamestown, which was around like the beginning of like the 1600s, and then they started the slave trade around 1619. So that's that nation. That's that nation that had a strange language. Then it says, who neither reverence old man nor pity the young child. So in slavery, everybody was in slavery. Like you had the old men, they was out there working in the fields, as well as the young kids. And then if you did something wrong, they was getting beat just like people that was young in stature. Uh, okay. These have these have carried away the dear beloved children of the widow. Okay, so it says the dear beloved children. That's talking about the elect. I mean, ultimately it's all of Israel, but beloved again is the elect. It says beloved children of the widow. The widow is Israel, and left and left her that was alone, desolate, without daughters. But what can I help you? For he hath for for he that brought these plagues upon you will deliver you from the hands of your enemies. Because ultimately, during Jacob's trouble, Isaiah and then Jeremiah 30:7, um, that's the ultimate destruction that the people of Israel are going to be saved from. Yeah, yeah, deliver you from the hands of your enemies. Yeah. So essentially, yeah, that's when everyone is going to be saved, and then not only that, but um, we were saved from the captivity in Babylon, the captivity in Rome. We went through multiple captivities, but each time that we went and he saved us, we went off, which is why we went into captivity ultimately. Um, Go your way, O my children, go your way, for I am left desolate. I have put off the clothing of peace and put upon me the sackcloth of my prayer. I will cry unto the everlasting of my days. He will feel tears. O my children, cry unto the Lord, and he shall deliver you from the power and the hand of your enemies. For hope, for my hope is in the everlasting, that he will save you, and joy is come unto me from the Holy One, because of the mercy which shall soon come unto you from the everlasting our Savior. For I sent you out with mourning and weeping, but power will give you to me again with joy and gladness forever. So it says, for I sent you out with mourning and weeping, for power, for the Most High will give you to me again with joy and gladness forever. So it says he will give you. So all right, we got 1948ers. They forced their way into there, and that wasn't prophecy. That was prophecy, but it wasn't prophecy for them to just take that land. It says the Most High will put us back in that land. All right. So it says with gladness forever. So he's going to put us. He's going to put the elect back into that land. We hope we're a part of that number, but ultimately it's going to be the elect that is that's put back in that land forever. We're not going to go off again because we're going to be given those new bodies. All right. Like as now the neighbors of Zion have seen your captivity, so shall they see shortly your salvation from our power, which shall come upon you with great glory and brightness of the everlasting. My children suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from the Most High, for thy enemy hath persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction and shalt tread upon his neck. All right, so it says, shortly shalt hold on, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction So we're going to see the Edomites destroyed, and then it says, shall tread upon his neck, because they're going to serve brutal slavery after all this stuff has occurred in Jacob's trouble. And then after that brutal slavery, he's going to be wiped out from the face of the earth. And we know this because if you go to Revelation, if you go to Revelation 13:10, Revelation 13:10, it reads, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So patience is long suffering. We're waiting to see the downfall of our enemies. And I mean, you can also take this scripture, this verse right here, as two parts. So it says, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. So I mean, you got some jakes out there that rely on carnal means such as killing with a sword, gun, the modern day gun. You got a lot of people out here saying that we need to take up arms. But ultimately, if you live by the sword, it says that he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. So if you out here living carnal, you're gonna be taken by those means, all right? All right, verse 26. My delicate ones have gone rough ways and were taken away as flock caught of the enemies. And that reminds me of, I can't remember what verse it's. My sheep, I'm paraphrasing right now. So my sheep are sent as, the sheep are sent among wolves, basically. But yeah, be of good comfort, O my children, and cry unto power, for ye shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you. For ye shall be remembered of him. Okay, yeah. Verse 28. For as it was your mind to go astray from the Most High, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. All right, so just like before we woke up, we were out here doing wicked deeds. We had the energy to do these wicked deeds, but this verse is basically saying have that same energy, but times 10. You know, we don't have to be he didn't have to open our eyes. So be grateful and seek him 10 times more. All right. Verse 29. For he hath brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy again with your salvation. Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave thee that name will comfort thee. Miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoice at thy fall. So basically it's saying, those that, if you go to Psalms, somewhere in Psalms, all right, where the heathen nations made a pact. They said that they were going to erase Israel as a nation. They wanted to make that their goal. So this is talking about, this is what verse? Verse 31 is talking about them that afflicted us, that rejoiced at our fall, starting with that head tribe of Edom, all the way down to, you know, all the rest of the heathens. All right, so verse 32, miserable are the cities which thy children serve. Miserable is she that received thy sons. Because it says, miserable are the cities which thy children serve, because when we first came over here in captivity, we were slaves. So that's why it says miserable are the cities which thy children have served. And ultimately that city, it says they're going to be miserable because it's talking about that great city, which is Babylon the Great, here in America. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. All right, so ultimately they were glad at the downfall of the Israelites, because at one point we ruled almost basically like the whole world. And you know, to reiterate, we went off. So we were took from that high state to all the way down, and the Most High brought up the basis of men, which is Edom. Where was that? Okay, verse 34. For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. Because them same plagues, them same curses and stuff in Deuteronomy that we receive are going to go onto the heathen nations. For fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, long to endure, and she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time. So it says, for fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, from the Most High. All right, so in the beginning, that first death was that water with the whole flood with Noah, and the second death is going to be with nuclear missiles. So that's that fire. That's that fire that's, let me see. That's the fire that's going to come upon. It says that's that fire that's going to come upon Babylon the Great, basically. Verse 36. Oh, no. I'm going to go back to verse 35. And it says, inhabited of devils. And devil in Hebrew and also in the English language, it stands for accuser, slanderer, and deceiver. There's a lot of devils out here all over the world. Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not wherein, who is he? Roughly paraphrasing, because I didn't read from the I didn't read it verbatim, but that just goes to show you that the earth is full of deceivers, man. Everything is made to make the people of Israel to go off, basically. So like with sports, it's just a distraction. So you're not in this truth, in this book, all right? Along with books, along with sports, entertainment. I watched a video the other day from another brother. He was talking about Planned Parenthood, man. Like, ultimately, that the person in charge of Planned Parenthood is they're racist, basically. And they want to cut off the seed of Israel, all right? That, and they want you to go off because he said in the scripture to be fruitful and multiply. Verse 36. O Jerusalem, look about thee toward the east, and behold the joy that cometh unto thee from power. Lo, thy sons come, whom thou sentest away. They were gathered from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of power. All right, so it says, whom thou sentest away, they come gathered together from the east to the west by the word. All right, so ultimately, we were all asleep in Babylon the Great, but it says we were gathered together by the word. You know, each brother was woken up a different way, but ultimately it's the word, the light, the truth that he allowed us to see, because he sent us his spirit. All right, so yeah, hopefully that was edifying to you guys. Call Halayim La, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakafadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostle, great men, and told me it's true for rule well. Shalom.